Hey guys, Adam here, and in this video, I actually want to do a recap of the showdown analysis or the showdown slates. I think I'm going to probably do this every showdown. I don't see any of the big producers doing like recaps of showdown slates, which I think is missing. Maybe there's some other people who are doing this, but I'm going to start doing this and just continue to glean information and make myself a better showdown player. So let's dig into this. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take the top three lineups because typically they're so close in scores because it's showdown slate that it's really good to get a little bit more holistic view of things versus just taking the top one lineup. And I've got time to do it since I'm doing this for every slate now. And so the winning lineup for the Bills Rams showdown slate was the Bills D at captain, which is absolutely hilarious. And the main reason for this, the reason why the Bills were the optimal captain, is simply because there were three very good plays. There they are. And they all scored right about the same. If Cup had scored 40 instead of 34, Cup would be the optimal captain. You'll actually see this in the second and third places. Same with any of these three. If there was even a slighter disparity between these scores, they would be the optimal captain. But they were very high in salary, which means DraftKings did a really good job. And so the Bills being at captain saved you the salary and got you where you needed to go. Even though the Bills didn't get a pick six, they got 7 sacks and 3 interceptions. They did really well. Obviously held Rams to the 10 points to give enough to be the captain. And you needed Gabe Davis also. It's so you have to understand the type of why the Bills, you look at it and go, oh, the Bills must have had a really good defensive game, 2 pick sixes or something. Well, that's not true. They had 0 of those. It was just because of high salaries for the main guys, which is great. And because they scored so similarly, the 3 highest scoring players. So I'm in my Excel. I'm going to go to my Excel here, and I've already got some of this stuff set up. The captain's position was defense. The setup, I think, it was actually a 5-1, which was hard to kind of judge here. You wouldn't have expected that, but Bills D with just Cup. Obviously, Stafford only threw for 1 touchdown here, so it kind of tells you what you need to know. 5-1. The QB usage, only Allen was used, so same. So I'm always do the captain based on the quarterback based on the who the captain was. So it was the same quarterback on the team. I know it's defense, but that's just how I'm going to do it. Running backs, 0 running backs. So if you played 0 running backs, congratulations, there were no running back touchdowns. Pass catchers, it was basically all pass catchers. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 pass catchers. Obviously 1 defense. Fringe players, there were no fringe players on this, which I think is also very interesting. Isaiah McKenzie was absolutely not a fringe player. You didn't know if he was going to be the slot man or if it was Crowder, but even so, it wasn't like he was projected to play only 10% of snaps or something crazy like Tutu Atwell, I think, who is on the Rams, would have been considered a fringe player in my opinion, because I think Ben Skoransky, or however you pronounce his name, was the clear-cut wide receiver 3, at least by most analysts' expectations, and I think that's what ended up happening. So McKenzie, not a fringe player. So this one had 0 fringe players, which is really interesting. The other thing I always look at is number of dupes, and you can see if I just look at the recap here, I'm scrolling down, and you'll see the second place score was 151st place, not 151st place. That's horrible. And he only scored 0.4 points less, right? So we're talking about very minuscule things when it comes to the differences between first and, in this case, 151st. So 150 dupes on this one. And then the second place had Diggs as captain. You're going to see a very similar, construction here. Diggs as captain. So I have it here. Stephon Diggs as captain. The setup here is 1, 2, Henderson's in this one, 3 and 4. So this was 4 Bills, so 4-2. Quarterback usage, it was in this case Allen, so same. Running backs, it was Darrell Henderson, so 1 running back in this lineup. Pass catchers, 1, 2, 3, McKenzie. And then of course the Bills D, and again 0 fringe players here. Darrell Henderson was definitely not a fringe player, in case you're wondering. And then how many dupes was this was? I go from 151 to 251, so it's exactly 100, which I think I put in the I already put the number of dupes here. The third place you'll see had 58 dupes. We'll talk about that in a second. I'll end with that. So in the last one, you've got This is the third place finisher. It was Cup. So like this shows you like the fact normally it's like one captain. You had to have this person at captain to win. In this case, you had 3 different captains in the first 3 best, optimal lineups. That is utterly ludicrous. That's not going to happen. This will not happen very often. This is a very unique game because of that. So I want to make sure we call that out. 1, 2, the Rams and the Bills D in this one. Oh my, that's crazy. The Rams D got 9 points off of, even though they allowed 31 total points to the Bills. 1, 2. It was Cup and the Rams D, and that's it. And all Bills. So 2 to 4. It's a 2 to 4 group here, and it was just Allen. Obviously, Stafford did not have a good game, so it was Cup as a captain without Matt Stafford. That's interesting to notice. And then running backs, it did not have Darrell Henderson in here. Instead, they had Rams D, so 0 running backs. And then pass catchers, we got Cup, Diggs, and McKenzie. Gabe Davis not in this one, by the way. And then 2 defenses. This is crazy. 2 defenses, 0 fringe players. So there you have it. And the big thing that I want to call out, the insight I have, first of all, is the fact that you wouldn't have realized how close the 3 players were, the 3 highest scoring players were Diggs, Cup, and Josh Allen. And you might have missed this if you just saw, oh, the Bills D was captain. They must have had a good game. Kinda. They didn't get the pick 6 from a fantasy standpoint. Kind of a fluke that they scored so many points without a pick 6. That's just not normal, or fumble recovery for a touchdown. They got 0 touchdowns, which is very, very interesting. And I think that's a really important insight. The other thing that I think is very insightful here is I think there are only like 5,000 Bills D captain lineups in the whole Millie Maker. I had some information on this. I can pull it later. There's like 5,000 total, and of those 5,000, 150 150 of those were duped for first place. I'm telling you, and it was like it was basically Bills D with all the best players, right? Remember, Bills D with all the best players. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. These are 4 probably the 4 highest scoring players. Obviously, Stafford could have been in there, but they didn't have enough salary for that. And then McKenzie, who's definitely a good play at 2,400. Like this, it sounds like if I was just punching stuff in a cruncher, this would have probably popped up if I allowed Bills D as my captain, which I don't. I don't allow defenses as captain. And I'm thinking, what a waste, to have Bills D be the captain, the winning lineup, and to have 150 dupes. And I think that's a really important point to make when it comes to trying to be unique, because did I really want to win first place and chop it with 150 people, or would I rather have lost? I know that sounds weird, but over time, like would I rather have lost to be unique, and then in the next showdown slate, maybe chop it with 3 people if I win, because my ROI is like significant. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars significant. And so I think that's a really important point to make. I really enjoyed this showdown slate. It was a lot of fun to watch, and I hope this analysis was helpful.